Get ready, because a powerful and icy Arctic blast is on its way, and it's going to change the way we experience the start of November. Over the next few days, a big chill will sweep across the region, bringing with it biting winds and a sharp drop in temperatures that will be hard to ignore. An Arctic blast is set to hit the East Coast soon, and meteorologists are tracking its progress closely as it barrels southward from the polar regions. This means a mass of extremely cold air will surge down from the Arctic, pushing aside the milder autumn air and causing temperatures to plummet rapidly, sometimes within just a few hours. People will need to bundle up to stay warm, layering up with scarves, gloves, and thick coats to protect themselves from the sudden freeze. This blast is expected to affect many states along the East Coast, stretching from the northernmost cities all the way down to the southern tip, impacting millions of people. The Arctic blast is not just a little cold snap. It's a significant weather event that could bring record-breaking lows and even the first snow of the season for some areas. It will bring temperatures much lower than normal for this time of year, with some places seeing the mercury dip well below freezing, even in areas that usually stay mild in early November. Many people will feel the chill, from the northern states all the way down to the southern parts of the coast, as the cold air sweeps through cities, suburbs, and rural areas alike. This cold air can be dangerous if people are not prepared, especially for the elderly, young children, and those without adequate shelter or heating. This cold weather is unusual for early November, catching many off guard as autumn leaves are suddenly blanketed by snow and ice. Normally, temperatures are mild and pleasant, with people enjoying the last days of fall, but this Arctic blast will make it feel more like the middle of winter, with frosty mornings and icy winds. People will need to find their winter coats, hats, and gloves sooner than expected, digging out heavy gear that usually stays packed away until December or January. The cold air will also bring other weather changes, like snow in some areas, icy roads, and the possibility of school delays or closures if conditions become severe. As the Arctic blast approaches, it is important to stay informed by checking weather alerts, local news, and updates from meteorologists. Weather forecasts will provide updates on how cold it will get, how long the cold will last, and what areas are most at risk, so people should listen to these updates to know what to expect and how to prepare. Being prepared can help everyone stay safe and warm during this cold spell, so take the time now to get ready for the Arctic blast before it arrives. This Arctic blast will make temperatures drop a lot. It will be much colder than usual for this time of year. Normally, temperatures in November are mild, but during this blast, they will be 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit colder than average. This is a big change that everyone will notice. During the day, high temperatures will struggle to reach the 40s in many places, and some areas might not even get that warm. At night, it will be even colder. Lows could drop into the 20s or even lower. This is very cold for November and could break some records. People living in cities like New York, Boston, and Washington, D.C. will feel the chill. Even southern cities like Atlanta will experience unusually cold weather. This means everyone along the East Coast should be ready for a big drop in temperature. It is important to dress warmly and stay indoors if possible. This cold weather can be dangerous, especially for people who are not used to it. It is important to keep warm and protect yourself from the cold, and this includes wearing layers of clothing and covering your head and hands. Staying warm will help prevent frostbite and other cold-related health issues. Along with the cold temperatures sweeping across the country, snow is also expected to make an appearance in several regions. As the Arctic air pushes southward, it brings with it the potential for wintry weather that could impact millions of people. The Northwest, Northern Plains, Great Lakes, and Northeast are all likely to see snowfall over the coming days. These areas are especially vulnerable to early season snow when cold air arrives quickly. This is because the cold air from the Arctic will meet with moisture in these regions, creating the perfect conditions for snow to develop. When these two ingredients come together, the result is often a wintry mix that can blanket the ground in white. When cold air and moisture mix, it often leads to snow. The process can happen quickly, and sometimes the first flakes can fall before you even realize a storm is approaching. In the Great Lakes region, lake effect snow is a strong possibility. This type of snow can be intense and highly localized, sometimes dumping several inches in just a few hours. Lake effect snow happens when cold air moves over the relatively warmer water of the lakes. The air picks up moisture from the lake surface, and as it moves downwind, it cools and drops that moisture as snow, often in narrow but heavy bands. Areas near Lakes Ontario and Erie could see especially heavy snowfall because of this effect. Communities along the lake shores should be prepared for rapidly changing conditions and the possibility of significant snow accumulation. The Northeast will also see some snow, especially in higher elevations where the colder air tends to linger. Mountain towns and ski resorts could get an early taste of winter, with fresh powder covering the slopes. Places like the Adirondacks and the Green Mountains could get a significant amount of snow, making for beautiful winter scenery, but also creating challenges for travel and outdoor activities. Even in lower areas and valleys, people might see some snowflakes drifting down, especially during the coldest parts of the day or overnight. For many, this could be the first snow of the season. This is unusual for early November, but the Arctic blast is bringing winter weather much earlier than normal. Many cities and towns are seeing their first measurable snow before Thanksgiving, which is rare. Snow can cause travel problems, so it is important to be prepared. Commuters may face delays, and sidewalks and driveways will need to be cleared to keep everyone safe. Roads can become slippery and dangerous, especially during the morning and evening rush hours. Black ice can form quickly, making it hard to see and even harder to stop. People should drive carefully and allow extra time to reach their destinations. It's a good idea to clear all the snow and ice from your car before heading out, and to keep your headlights on for better visibility. It is also a good idea to have an emergency kit in your car, just in case you get stuck in the snow. Items like blankets, a flashlight, snacks, and a small shovel can make a big difference if you find yourself stranded during a winter storm. So, the polar vortex is a key player in bringing this cold weather to the East Coast. But what exactly is the polar vortex, and why does it have such a dramatic effect on our weather? To understand that, we need to take a closer look at how this powerful system works. It's basically a large area of extremely cold air high up in the atmosphere, usually hanging out over the Arctic. This mass of frigid air is surrounded by strong winds that act like a barrier, keeping the cold contained near the North Pole most of the time. Every now and then, this vortex gets a bit unstable, sometimes due to changes in atmospheric pressure or disruptions in the jet stream, and sends cold air southward. When this happens, the cold air can spill out of the Arctic and travel much farther than usual. That's exactly what's happening now, and it's the reason behind this Arctic blast that's sweeping across the region. The sudden shift in the polar vortex can catch many people off guard. When the polar vortex shifts, it can push very cold air into places that aren't really used to it, which leads to those sudden drops in temperature, just like we're seeing with this Arctic blast. Cities that are usually mild in winter can suddenly find themselves in the grip of freezing temperatures. The cold air travels all the way from Greenland and the Canadian Arctic, moving right down into the United States. This journey can happen surprisingly fast, bringing a dramatic change in weather conditions in just a matter of days. Understanding the polar vortex really helps explain why the weather can change so suddenly. Meteorologists study these patterns closely to predict when and where the next cold snap might hit. It's a natural part of the Earth's climate system, and it has been influencing our winters for centuries. The polar vortex is just one of many factors that shape our weather, but its impact can be especially dramatic. But when it moves south, it can bring on some extreme cold weather events. These cold snaps can lead to heavy snowfall, icy roads, and even dangerous wind chills that make it feel much colder than the actual temperature. That's why it's so important to pay attention to weather forecasts and be ready for quick changes. Staying informed can help you prepare for sudden drops in temperature and keep you safe during extreme weather. The polar vortex doesn't always bring cold weather though. In fact, when it's stable, it acts like a lid, keeping the cold air locked up tight in the Arctic and leaving the rest of us with more typical winter weather. Sometimes it stays stable for weeks or even months, maintaining cold conditions in the far north while the rest of the continent experiences milder weather. But when it shifts, it can have a pretty big impact on the weather in North America. These shifts can affect millions of people, influencing everything from daily routines to energy usage and travel plans, and that's exactly why we're experiencing such cold temperatures now. The polar vortex has shifted, sending a wave of Arctic air our way and reminding us just how powerful and unpredictable nature can be. The good news is that this Arctic blast won't last long. It's expected to be a short-lived event, While the cold temperatures will definitely be intense, they won't stick around for too long. Warmer air is actually on the way and should show up pretty soon after this cold spell. This cold weather is only expected to last for a few days. After that, temperatures will start to rise again. By the end of the week, a lot of areas will see a return to more normal temperatures. So, folks won't have to deal with the extreme cold for too long. The return of warmer air will be a really welcome relief for many. It'll feel more like fall again, with mild and pleasant temperatures. It's a good reminder that this Arctic blast is just temporary. People can look forward to getting back outside and enjoying activities once things warm up. It's important to stay informed about the weather during this time though. Weather forecasts will keep everyone updated on when the cold will end and the warmer air will return. Staying up to date can really help people plan their activities and stay safe during this cold spell. This Arctic blast could actually lead to record-low temperatures in some places. The cold air coming down from the Arctic is seriously intense. There's a chance that some cities will see temperatures lower than ever recorded for this time of year. That's why it's so important to be prepared for the cold. On top of the cold, there's also a chance of nor'easters. These are powerful storms that can bring heavy snow, rain, and strong winds to the east coast. The cold air from the Arctic can really help fuel these storms, making them even more intense. Folks should definitely be aware of the potential for nor'easters right now. Nor'easters can cause all sorts of problems, including power outages and travel disruptions. So, it's really important to be ready for these storms. That means having supplies like food, water, and flashlights on hand, just in case. People should also keep up with the weather and follow any warnings or advisories. While the Arctic blast is bringing cold and snow, it's worth remembering that it won't last forever. Warmer weather is coming, and soon, this cold spell will just be a distant memory. Everyone can look forward to enjoying milder temperatures once the Arctic air moves out. In conclusion, the Arctic blast is bringing some really cold weather to the East Coast. Temperatures are going to drop significantly, and some areas will even see snow. The polar vortex is the reason this cold air is moving south from the Arctic. But the cold weather won't last long. Warmer air is definitely on the way. It's important to be prepared for these cold temperatures. Make sure to dress warmly and, if possible, stay indoors. Be aware of the chance for snow and nor'easters, and take the right precautions to stay safe. Cold weather can be dangerous, but with a little preparation, everyone can stay warm and safe. The cold spell will be pretty short-lived, and soon, temperatures will rise again. Folks can look forward to enjoying milder weather and getting back to outdoor activities. This Arctic blast is really just a reminder of how quickly the weather can change, but it's also a sign that winter is on its way. Stay informed about the weather, and be ready for any changes. The Arctic blast is only temporary, and soon, the East Coast will get back to more typical November weather. Warmer days are ahead, and everyone can look forward to enjoying the rest of the fall season.